have the Philadelphia Eagles finally solved the one issue that's haunted them for decades? That nagging hole that kept popping up every time they seemed ready to dominate the NFL? Because let's be honest, if you followed this team closely over the years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Wide receivers, yup. That one position that felt like a revolving door for Philadelphia for way too long. But now, that storyline looks like it's flipped completely. And today, we're diving deep into how that transformation happened and what it means for the Eagles moving forward. First, shout out to the Birds. On this exact date, July 8th, the franchise turns 92 years old. That's nearly a century of Eagles football. And if you go back and look at those 92 years, there's been a roller coaster of talent at wideout, some legendary names, some forgotten experiments, and plenty of seasons where the offense was dragged down by subpar weapons on the outside. But something clicked, something changed, and now Philly might have the best wide receiver duo in the entire league. But let's not skip ahead. Let's walk this timeline together. Way back in the day, we're talking the 1950s and 60s, there was Tommy McDonald, an absolute baller. He was an all-pro and pro bowler who gave the Eagles a real threat at receiver during an era when the passing game was still evolving. After him, Harold Carmichael took the torch in the 70s and became one of the most dominant wideouts of that era. Then in the 80s, it was Mike Quick's turn. He was electric, a game changer, and one of the best receivers in the league at the time. So the franchise actually had a pretty strong lineage of wide receivers back in the earlier decades. But things started to shift. When Buddy Ryan came in during the late 80s and early 90s, the focus turned hardcore toward the defense. His teams were built around pass rushers and physicality, not elite receivers. And while there was still some talent floating around, there wasn't a consistent, dominant presence at wideout for quite some time. There was a brief glimmer of hope in the late 90s when Irving Fryer came over from Miami and put together 2,000-yard seasons out of 3 with the Eagles. But Fryer was already toward the end of his career, so it didn't have that long-term impact the team really needed. Then came the pivotal moment in 1999. The Eagles drafted Donovan McNab. That pick was super controversial at the time. A lot of fans wanted running back Ricky Williams, but Philly went with McNab. And looking back, it was absolutely the right call. Think about how much the league has changed since then. Back in 99, there was a legit debate about whether to take a quarterback or a running back at number 2 overall. That would never fly today. Quarterback always wins in this modern era, and McNab became the guy in Philly. Doug Peterson, by the way, was the bridge quarterback that season, but by the end of the year, McNab was showing flashes. Then in 2000, he took over fully and never looked back. Under Andy Reid and McNab, the Eagles made it to 4 straight NFC Championship games and 5 in total. But here's the thing, despite all that team success, they were never able to pair McNab with a long-term elite wide receiver. And that became a real issue. Yes, they had Terrell Owens. And when T.O. was in Philly for that one full season in 2004, the offense exploded. McNab had a career year. The Eagles went to the Super Bowl and to even balled out in the big game on a broken ankle. But that was short-lived. The relationship went sour, and Owens was out the door almost as fast as he arrived. So while his impact was massive, it was fleeting. The team went back to relying on guys like James Thrash, Todd Pinkston, and Kevin Curtis, all decent players but not number 1 wideouts who could dominate on a weekly basis. That's the issue. McNab was throwing to number 2s and 3s when other top quarterbacks had legit stars out wide. Then came the brief era of hope, again with Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin. Those two brought real excitement to the offense. DJ Axe had that deep ball ability that could flip a game in a second, and Maclin was smooth, reliable, and productive. In fact, Jackson's rookie season in 2008 was also McNab and Reid's last NFC title game together. So things were looking up. But again, it didn't last. That duo didn't stick together as long as fans hoped. And then came the Chip Kelly era, and everything went off the rails. Chip came in and tried to reshape the Eagles in his own image. He ran off Deshaun Jackson, eventually let Maclin walk, and even stripped Howie Roseman of his power as general manager. That whole era was chaotic, and when you look at the wide receivers during those years, it's actually kind of sad. After Macklin led the team in receiving in 2014, Jordan Matthews, a solid slot receiver but not a number one, became the team's top wideout in 2015. Then it gets even crazier. From 2016 to 2019, the team's leading receiver in terms of yards was a tight end, Zach Ertz. Again, nothing against Ertz. He's arguably the greatest tight end in franchise history. But when your tight end is leading the team in receiving for 4 straight years, you've got a problem at wide receiver, and it gets worse. In 2020, the Eagles' leading receiver was Travis Fulgham. Remember him? He had a crazy 5-game stretch where he looked like the next big thing and then disappeared just as quickly. That tells you everything you need to know about how rough things got. Philly could not draft or develop wide receivers to save their life. And the low point of it all? Drafting Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. Man, that moment stung. Jefferson was sitting there coming off an insane season at LSU, and the Eagles went with Reagor, who had speed but never looked like a polished route runner or high-end receiver. It was a whiff, a big one, but in a strange way, that draft mistake became the turning point for Howie Roseman. See, that miss embarrassed the front office, and Roseman, to his credit, learned from it. He admitted, maybe not publicly, but clearly, through his actions, that he needed to stop trying to be the smartest guy in the room. No more reaching for the flashy pick from a small school. No more thinking he could out-scout the league. Instead, he pivoted. He started going with the best players from the best programs. So, what did he do the very next year? He drafted Devont Smith, a Heisman Trophy winner from Alabama, a national champion, and one of the most polished wideouts college football had seen in a long time. That was the start of the fix. Smith came in, broke the Eagles' rookie record for receiving yards, and instantly brought credibility back to the position. But Howie wasn't done. In 2022, on draft night, Roseman made a blockbuster move and traded for A.J. Brown. That's when the entire wide receiver room leveled up. Brown came in and immediately became a top 3 wideout in the league. Every year since putting on the Eagles uniform, he's been an All-Pro. And the chemistry with Jalen Hurts. Instant, lethal, game-changing. Now, let's take a step back and really look at this. From the post-Macklin era, where Jordan Matthews and a tight end were your top receivers, to now having Devont Smith and A.J. Brown, that's a massive glow-up. And it's not just about talent, it's about team-building philosophy. The Eagles finally start building the offense around their quarterback. They gave Jalen Hurts what McNab never had, legit star receivers. Smith has gone over 1,000 yards in 2 of his first 3 seasons. Even in a year where he missed some time and the Eagles were running the ball more than anyone else in the league, he still put up solid numbers. And honestly, he's become a little underrated just because of how good A.J. Brown is. If Smith were the number 1 receiver on another team, his numbers would be even more impressive. And then there's A.J. Brown. This guy wasn't even an All-Pro with the Titans. Since coming to Philly, 3 straight All-Pro seasons. He's caught nearly 100 balls a year, gone for over 1,400 yards twice, and even in a season where he missed some time, he still cracked the 1,000-yard mark. That's consistency. That's dominance. That's what having a real number 1 looks like. The Eagles finally cracked the code. They figured out the formula. It's not just about having a good quarterback. It's about supporting him. It's about stacking the deck in your favor. Give him weapons. Protect him with a great offensive line. Manage the cap smartly so you can afford to pay stars. And Philly has done all of that. So to answer the original question, yes, the Eagles have absolutely fixed their biggest issue as an organization. Wide receiver was the weak spot for years, for decades, really. And now it's a strength. Not just a strength, but maybe the best wide receiver duo in the entire NFL. And with both Smith and Brown still in their primes, this is just the beginning. Now, the only question left is, are Smith and Brown the best 1-2 punch in the league at wideout? Drop your answer in the comments. Yes or no? Let's see what you think. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what can only be described as a stunning twist to the NFL offseason, murmurs have erupted across the league after what appeared to be TJ Watt's first words as a Philadelphia Eagle were allegedly captured during a private workout session in South Jersey. The five-time Pro Bowler and former cornerstone of the Pittsburgh Steelers has long been considered the face of the Steel Curtain defense, but now, if whispers are to be believed, Watt could be preparing to don midnight green next season. According to anonymous sources close to the Eagles organization, Watt was spotted in a closed-door training facility wearing Philly gear and speaking with members of the Eagles coaching staff. One witness, who asked not to be named, claims to have heard Watt say, "Feels right being here, this is home now." While no official confirmation has come from the player, the team, or his agent, the mere suggestion has ignited a wildfire of speculation in both Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Fueling the rumors further, Watt's social media activity has grown increasingly cryptic in recent days. A now-deleted Instagram story showed a pair of cleats on a turf strikingly similar to the Eagles' practice field. Fans quickly connected the dots, leading to theories that the defensive powerhouse is preparing for a blockbuster move, possibly involving a high-profile trade or late-stage free agency maneuver. Philly fans, for their part, are equal parts ecstatic and disbelieving. For a city that thrives on underdog narratives and defensive grit, the idea of pairing Watt with the already ferocious Eagles front seven feels almost too good to be true. Yet this league has delivered bigger shocks before. Just last season, few believed that other major defensive stars would change jerseys, until they did. While insiders warned that nothing is finalized and the supposed interview may have been taken out of context, the buzz around TJ Watt's future has officially reached fever pitch. Is he truly making a move to Philly, or is this a calculated misdirection? For now, all we can do is watch, wait, and listen closely for the next hint. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.